Hello, my lovely peaches. How are you? Welcome and welcome back. This was supposed to be the end of the video that I made late last night that I haven't edited or posted yet. But it became the end and then the conclusion, which I kind of wanted to lead with. And I wanted to make it as a separate standalone, but then I wrote out a little bit of something that I wanted to say at the beginning, and then I also wrote some texts. So I just want to read through those things and then add my thoughts about OMG, now I understand the prosecution's case much more against Karen Read. And these are my thoughts about it. There's my unmade bed. Should I go clean it off or make it or something? Let's see. So I don't believe that Karen actually planned a murder in that sense. I do not believe that she intended that at the end of her plan that it was going to result in that man's death. And I do say, I think I understand, like, it should have been even first degree murder. I've been like, how can it be second degree? How can it not just be manslaughter? How could it even be manslaughter? How are they going to prove this? However, but now my thoughts have shifted now that these text messages have come out. And that's what this part 2, but part 1 video is about. Air conditioning is on. Somebody's actually weed whacking right now. So I do believe that she didn't plan his murder. However, she did plan a diabolical plot of sex, jealousy, revenge, bruised ego, based most likely, as was testified to in court under oath, her own misconstrued jealous ego, seeing John hug a beautiful woman who she called gross. She said it's even worse because she's gross, even though I was like, damn, she's drop dead gorgeous. Yet she clearly felt incredibly threatened by, while also hating the situation, the reality of her relationship with John, that would never change because he was a dad and she never wanted kids. Or that fucked up situation. Now I'm going to go over here, and I read some more thoughts. Diabolical Karen Read, bang, bang again. Goes both ways. Trial, day 17 thoughts. Is this the Rubicon? And why is it bang, bang again? Because we talked about banging in this one, and remember Colin Albert, bang, bang? That I don't think led to anything. Yeah, clearly Karen felt incredibly threatened by Marietta while also hating the situation of her relationship with John, because he was a dad and she never wanted kids or to be in that fucked up situation. However, instead of being a nice, mature lady who recognized this nice man who's raising these kids, who's already been through unbelievable tragedy, however, she didn't want to let John move on. And she was so hurt and so driven by her bruised ego that she probably had no self-esteem and felt that she wasn't good enough. And somehow that all twisted into, and also she didn't want kids, but there she was dating a man with kids. And she said that her and John were never going to get married and that he was single and she was single. And she perceived that he had cheated on her, even though she said, actually, the cheating isn't really what bothers me so much. What really bothers me is the kids, because I don't want kids. So then she was hurt because she thought that he was messing around with Marietta, even though she then admitted that she thought she saw something that she didn't see, and she even offered to pay for Marietta's room because she felt sorry, supposedly. But then she goes ahead and tells Brian Higgins that he had cheated on her. And so then she plots to cheat on John behind his back with his own friend. And I do believe that her plan was to have sex with Brian Higgins and maybe get some photos and some video. And maybe she knew, maybe he had a crush on her before and she knew that before she ever even gone to Aruba. Maybe he really was her type and she thought that he was very hot and that she really had been wanting to fuck him anyway. And so when she got back from Aruba, she had already planned that she was going to go out and fucking get his phone number, and, you know, or like maybe she was genuinely weed whacking, or maybe, like I said, telenovela, like she came up with a plot line, like some ridiculous, outlandish plot line, like, how can I go put myself in, like, have my ass out there where he's going to drive by kind of thing, you know? So she's like, let me go out there weed whacking. I don't know. Maybe she was genuinely weed whacking. That part, it doesn't matter as much. But either way, then, you know, maybe she had already planned when she landed that he was her target, or maybe when he drove by because she was weed whacking, that was a spontaneous event that fueled her jealous rage plan, and then that's when he became the target, the object of her evil intentions. Either way, I don't know if it ultimately matters, you know, why the off the chain and altered chain and this chain of events and this text message chain. And was it an altered text message chain? Did she show John an altered text message chain, and she was reckless and thoughtless, and her behavior was depraved heart? And although she likely hadn't planned his death, she didn't plan like, I'm gonna murder this motherfucker, but she did start to do a bunch of shit that I do believe that when the night of that party, when he was gonna go there and she knew that Brian was there, she knew she's about to get exposed. Everything she's been doing is about to get exposed, and that's what she didn't want out. That's why she didn't want Brian and John to be able to speak. That's why, in my opinion, allegedly, when John got out of her SUV and was like, I'm going to the party, I'm not going home with you, she was like, I have literally, what can I do? How can I stop him from going in there? Because the moment he walks in that house and sees Brian, they're going to talk, and he is going to see, look at this text that she sent me. What's up with your girl, man? Boom. Now I'm going off the rails on the whole other deep end direction, because just now I was brushing my teeth getting ready for bed, and I started to think she should have been charged with first-degree murder. Why? Because how insane would it be if John O'Keefe was murdered because he hugged a family member? Like that's the simple version. He hugged his godson's aunt in the lobby of a hotel that they were at a group vacation with. They greeted each other, and he died 3.5 weeks later. So putting the timeline together in my mind just now, December 30th and 31st, they were in Aruba. They left on January 5th of 2022. So according to this story from the Sullivan sisters, Laura and Marietta, somewhere a couple, 2 or 3 days before they left is when this whole thing went down. Like 2 or 3 days before they left. So let's say it was January 2nd. So January 2nd, 2022, Karen Read sees John hug a family member. So when John's godson was born, the aunt of that godson probably was like 10, 11, 12 or something. So she knew John. Marietta Sullivan knew John since she herself was a little kid. And she said she saw him as like a big brother. Okay. So in my mind, the aunt of your godson is like a family member, and that's what she thought. So that is the person that John hugged. On a family vacation, a group friend vacation, he saw somebody that was a part of his friend group family, and he hugged her, and that set off a series of events that were all fueled by Karen Read that I believe is what led to his death just 3.5 weeks later. They greet each other. That made Karen so jealous that set off a series of events that when they came home January 5th, by January 12th, a week later, she had the phone number of a friend of John's. Looking at it this way, now I believe that she absolutely, there is no doubt in my mind, there is no reasonable doubt in my mind that she did not make a plan to come home from that vacation and begin a vindictive plan that she set in motion to make John jealous, which ended in his death on January 29th, less than a month later. And what I believe, in absolute complete opposite, so I saw some people saying these texts make Brian look more guilty than Karen, which to me, psycho, brain exploded. What? Why would he kill a man for a woman who creeped him out? Yeah, he was into her, but she would not commit. She was like all weird. And then she came over and he was like, this is weird vibes. I don't like it. Bye. And maybe he was still hopeful. Maybe he was kind of pathetic. Maybe he was just sad and lonely. Maybe he was like, maybe she will break up with John. But what I think is a lot more likely is that what motive would Karen have? So let's look at it this way. They're at this bar. Brian Higgins is there. She's acting like she doesn't even know him. He's like, whatever, I don't care. There she is with her man. Not only is she acting like she doesn't even know Brian Higgins. So not only is she acting like she doesn't even know Brian Higgins, but she is putting on a show that everybody who's there is perceiving, oh my God, they're the happiest, sweetest, lovingest couple. But Karen knows that that's not true, because Karen's been trying to fuck Brian Higgins since January 12th, or probably since January 5th, when she fucking got her foot back on Boston ground, and she's like, who the fuck has somebody's number I can fuck? Who's desperate and lonely that I could come on to, who I can fuck? And what I think is that if she could have, she would have fucked him right there on the camera. Some Gone Girl shit. Fuck him right there on the video camera. Or maybe she'd set up a camera in the room, wherever, so she could get some video footage of it. Who knows? Because people are crazy. So she's fucking around trying to get this Brian guy to fuck her, which I believe so she could drop the bomb on John and wreak havoc in his life and blow up his friend group and his job and mess up his kids. And all that because he hugged somebody and made her jealous. And all that because she was dating a man that she shouldn't have been dating anyway, because she didn't want to have children. So why the fuck are you dating a man who has children? So why would she not want him to go to that party? Because maybe she was afraid that Brian Higgins was a blabbermouth who was somebody who always tells the truth. And he might be like, oh, hey, your girl been trying to fuck me. What's up with that? What's up with that, John? Look at all these weird texts that she's sending me. Look at what she said about you. You cool with this? Because she seems to be cool with it. She seems to think that you're out there fucking you. You bang that girl? You banging that girl? Can I go bang her? Can I be in a relationship with her? You gonna stay together or what? All of that kind of stuff is probably the kind of stuff that Brian Higgins would have said. And John would have been like, what the fuck, dude? And maybe he was already just, I believe that she was probably lying to Brian Higgins about John having shown her 5 times. If anything, she was probably showing John 5 times and feeding him lies. He won't stop texting me. He's been trying to fuck me since we got back. Probably said he got my number from Melissa. She probably deleted the texts that she sent him and showed John an altered chain. Why do you think that they didn't bust out the real texts? Maybe they will, and I'll feel like a fool on Tuesday when they come out with the real texts. But I kind of feel like if they had the real text, why would you're going to tell me that Alan Jackson wouldn't have busted out the real text that would have proven what a scumbag lowlife who just wanted nudes and bang that Brian Higgins was, and the sweet, wonderful lady that Karen really is? No, they didn't come out yet, so that's why my brain is churning. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Yesterday, I was like, why the fuck? Okay, yeah, these girls, they had a story. It was like, thank you for the tea, ma'am. But, thank you for the tea. However, what the fuck does that have to do with John being dead on the lawn? Oh, John is dead on the lawn because you hugged your sister's, like, basically he's like your brother. She said he's like a brother. He's like family. He's been a part of her life. So if she's in her 20s, then and her sister said she was 10 years younger, which means that she'd known him since she was like 9, or something like that. She's like 9 or 10 years old, and she's known John, a big ass grown up. So she probably wasn't thinking about it's like a lot of us don't find people attractive just because they might be attractive. Doesn't mean it's like not everybody wants to fuck everybody, you know what I mean? But if you're a psycho cynical female, single white female, so who had a lot more to lose for John to walk in that house? So who had a lot more to lose for John to walk in that house? Who had a version of a story that they did not want to be told from the other person's perspective? Who might have shown somebody a thread of a chain of cringe-ass texts that has certain ones deleted, and they did not want that man to walk into that house where that Brian Higgins might have been with the actual text that we saw? Who might have been so scared about what was about to blow up in her life if that man who just got out of the car, her SUV, he was like, fuck you, I'm going to the fucking party. He got out and she was like, I'm not gonna let you find out about me. Boom. Is that what happened? I don't know. Allegedly. Could be. Maybe she thought, I'm not gonna kill him. He could just take a little nappy poo. Boop. Boop. No, you're not going to that party. I don't know. But, funny how the needle has turned, the fulcrum has fulcrumed, the Rubicon has rubied, and I'm like, okay, girl, you are the problem. Wow. Just imagine a person who would hit somebody with their car and then spend hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to prove that everybody else and their fucking grandma did it. All right, it's crazy dark. It's 3:58 a.m. I think I want to try to post this, but then go to sleep. And then I'll work on, I have like a whole nother hour worth of talking about it, but this was just like my conclusion. This is really the end of like an hour and a half of thinking and talking. Like, wow, okay, I believe that, let's say they did argue. Let's say she did say, look at all these texts Brian sent me. We can't go to that party. He's been trying to fuck me. That's so awkward. And then he was like, well, I'm going to go to the party, but I'm going to ask him. I'm going to say, what's up? And she did not want him to go in there because she knew if he goes in there, Brian will tell him the truth. Yeah, she texted me first. She got my number from Melissa. I immediately said, hey, how'd you get my number? I don't give my number out to anybody. But wait, actually, I saw her weed whacking. Then now that makes me think, wait, was she weed whacking to put herself in a place where he would see her? Like, didn't he say he lived 2 blocks away and that he had offered to plow before? So did she, like, is Karen Read weed whacking on a normal basis? Or did she like telenovela fucking let me go out there and weed whack, and then he'll be like, what you doing, girl? I don't know. That's off, like the whole thing is so bonkers. But the idea that that man that I saw testify today would in an enraged, jealous, rejected burst of murderous I just have this light here for some visual something to look at because everything, I turned all the lights off. But I just want to capture my thoughts before I fall asleep in a couple more minutes, which is the defense wants 12 people to believe that John was enraged. John was enraged at Brian because Karen was trying to fuck Brian, and Brian is like, what's up? I thought you were happy. What's going on? Usually people who live with people don't be trying to hook up. Does John know? Is he cool with it? Why won't you answer my questions? Do you always get mad when you don't get your way? You're sensitive. You're being sensitive. So, well, seems like you've got a lot swirling around in your mind. Those don't sound like things that a man who just wants nudes and wants to bang says. Like, yeah, he asked if John banged somebody. Maybe kind of gave me like 80s teen vibes. And then, yeah, he asked for a picture. I didn't see him saying, show me your pussy. I mean, he was like, send me a picture. Does that mean send me a nude? I mean, maybe if you're that kind of girl, it's like, oh, he asked for a picture, he must want a nude. I mean, maybe he just wanted to see your face. I don't know. Maybe he wanted to see the other thing. I don't know. But just assuming is kind of not, but anyway, if John went into the house and was like, Brian, what's up? Why are you trying to hit on my girl? And then I think Brian would be like, well, that's exactly what I've been trying to find out. She literally initiated, she got my number on her own. Like, she on her own, without me asking or prompting or anything. It was totally out of the blue. She popped up out of the fucking bushes like, hey. The bitch was weed whacking. Like, what the fuck? You telling me fancy ass rich bitch Karen is weed whacking? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong and I didn't know that she was a gardener. But this is just like, wow. She planned all of that, and then I think she was expecting him to come and fuck her. You said you were adaptable. I'm motherfucker. I'm saying come over. And he was like, wow. This is not convenient. Plus, you won't answer my questions about, like, what's going on. Like, how is that a guy who just wants to bang? It's no wonder there's so many miserable people out there. Someone is literally trying to not be a dick, and that's what they see. So, do I think that Brian Higgins might have scraped John's arm with his plow when he was already dead? Maybe. But how did he end up there in the first place to be scraped? Like, I don't think that John was there and he was like, boom, you know? I don't know. There's more testimony and evidence to come, but wow. I can see it now from the prosecution side. Just imagine a person who would hit somebody with their car and then spend hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to prove that everybody else and their fucking grandma did it.